Hello students, welcome to the course on Engineering Mechanics. This is Rakesh Gautam, Assistant Professor in Department of Mechanical Engineering, Government College of Technology, Coimbatore. This video lecture is prepared by Department of Mechanical Engineering, Government College of Technology, Coimbatore as a part of GATE material preparation. So let us begin with Engineering Mechanics. So I have divided GATE syllabus into 6 subchapters as you can see here: equilibrium and free body diagram, trusses, virtual work, plane motion, momentum and collision. So we are going to start with equilibrium and FBD. What is FBD? Free body diagram. So what is equilibrium? So a body is said to be in equilibrium if the net force acting over a body is zero. So apart from net force, in that basic definition we are going to add moment also. So what is the new definition? When a body is in equilibrium, the resultant net force and resultant moment over a body should be zero. So as you can see in first and second, first one is sigma f. So it is the vector sum of all the forces acting over a body. All these forces are external forces that are acting over a body, and the vector sum of all these forces should be zero. And all these external moments acting over a body should be equal to zero. And how to find out these resultants? So these resultants can be found out with the help of free body diagram. So now let us understand what is free body diagram. So free body diagram is nothing but a graphical representation of vectors and moments acting over a body, right? So what it reveals all forces and moments which act over a body or over a system or a part of system. So there are some guidelines for drawing a complete free body diagram. As you can see here, first point is find out a body or a part of system that is to be isolated, right? So first thing is that based on unknowns means whatever things they are asking in problems. Suppose something is unknown or something we need it to solve the problem, we need to find out body or a part of a body that is to be isolated, and then we are going to analyze that isolated part. Second point is draw complete external boundary of the system or the part of the system. So whatever things we have isolated, we are going to make only external boundary of that system. And then in third point, we will indicate all the forces and moments acting on the body by vector arrows. So as you know, force is a vector. So we are going to represent all the forces, all the external forces acting to that isolated body, and we are going to represent all those forces with the help of vector diagrams, vector arrows. Finally, we are going to assign the convenient coordinate axis. Why we are assigning convenient coordinate axis? Because finally we have to do algebraic sum or subtraction of forces and moments, right? So in that case we need to know which force is positive and which force is negative, which force is in positive x direction or y direction, which force is in positive or negative x direction or y direction. So let us do some examples. So I have taken example of truss here. We are going to cover this truss chapter in second chapter. This is our second chapter actually. So anyway, I have taken, for the sake of explaining free body diagram, I have taken one example here. So as you can see here, this is a truss. So this type of system is called truss, right? And we don't care about what is inside, right? We just care about the external boundary here, right? So first thing is to isolate the part. So why we are isolating? Based on unknowns. So and we have unknowns here at point A and point B. Point A we don't know any reaction, and point B we don't know any reaction, right? But we know one external force P. Suppose that is given in the problem, right? So we want to isolate a part of that system in which both the reaction will come. Reaction at point A and reaction at point B should come. So in that way we have to isolate whole of this system from this foundation, because this system is resting on a foundation, right? So we have to separate this upper system from the foundation, and then we have to draw external boundary as I have drawn here, right? As you can see, it is external boundary, and then afterwards we are going to draw all the external forces acting over it. So what is the first external force acting over it? Force P. That is easily known because it is given in the problem, right? So we have to just make an arrow in the given direction, and that will be your vector P. right? After that, we will come to point B. So as you can see in the diagram, it is looking like it is simply supported. As you can see, simply it is only surface contact. If it is a surface contact, obviously it will be simply supported. So what is the property of simply supported structure? In that type of structure, you will have only one force, and that will be perpendicular to the contact surface, right? So our case, we are having only one reaction force By, and the direction of By will be perpendicular to the contact. So from the Newton's third law, we will know that this By is nothing but a reaction force applied by the foundation over this system. So what happens? Suppose this is a point B, right, and this is foundation. I have separated point B and foundation separately, right? So what happens? Point B, because of the weight of the system, it will apply some active force. Okay, there will be some force that point B is applying on foundation, right? But what happens? We want only those forces which are acting over the system, not applied by the system, right? So we need to find out here reactive force, a reactive force that is applied by foundation upon the system, and that reactive force is nothing but this P, and it is from Newton's third law will be equal to the active force. Anyway, we don't know the magnitude, but we know the direction, right? Now come to the point B. So this point B is nothing but a pin joint, and pin joint has a property that it will have only two forces in two directions, Ax and Ay, right? So whatever force will act, suppose this force is acting, you can have two components of this force, one in x direction, other one in y direction, right? So keep in mind that pin joint can never ever transfer the moment. That's why we don't have any momentum here, right? It can transfer only force Ax and Ay. Again, we don't know the direction and magnitude of both these Ax and Ay. In the case of By, we knew the direction, we didn't know the magnitude, but here in case of Ax and Ay, we don't know anything. So in any direction we can assume. Finally, whatever answer will come, based on that we are going to find the true direction. Suppose Ax is coming negative, then what will happen? This force is not acting not in this direction, it is acting in reverse direction if it comes negative. So now let us move to second example. So second example I have taken of a beam. As you can see here, this is a beam that is being pin joined at point B and simply supported at point A. One force is acted upon this beam, that is P, and one moment also is acting here this time. So what is movement? Movement is nothing but force into radius, force into distance, and the unit is Newton into meter, right? So the movement will be acting here, and we are going to represent this movement in free body diagram. So as usual, what we are going to do first, we are going to first isolate this beam from the foundation, then we are going to make external surface, right? And afterwards we are going to show all the forces acting over this external surface. So two forces are already known. One is P, that is being acted upon over the beam in positive x direction. After that we have one weight force. Because of the weight of the beam, we will have weight acting at the center of gravity of the beam, that is here W is equal to mg. M is the mass of the whole beam, g is gravity. We are going to represent it with this downward arrow, that is the vector W. Afterwards we know already that what is moment, right? So we are going to represent moment here at the far right side of the beam, right? Now come to the point B, that is pin joint, and obviously we don't know Bx and By, that we are going to find out if we have some question with the above given things. So again, Bx and By we can assume in any direction, but should be perpendicular in x and y direction, right, on pin joint. This Bx and By is nothing but reaction force that is being applied by foundation to the beam, right? The final one will be contact force, that is normal, right? Because as we know, at point A it is just simply supported, this beam is just simply supported at point A, right? So here we will have normal force that is always perpendicular to the contact surface. As you can see here, external force that is perpendicular to the cortex surface is being acted upon it. Right. In that way, we can complete our free body diagram. Finally, we are going to make our coordinate system. So this coordinate system is nothing just to have the positive and negative forces, because finally we are going to do arithmetics here, right? We are going to add forces, we are going to add moments, so we should know which force is positive and which force is negative. As you can see here, if we assume that positive x direction and positive y direction, then all the forces acting in positive x direction toward right arrow will be positive, and the forces which are acting toward left will be negative, and we can easily sum them up, right? So that's how we complete our free body diagram. Now let us see the category of equilibrium in two dimensions. So there are some categories of equilibrium in two dimensions. First one is collinear. So collinear means, suppose over a body, all the forces acting over a body in a single line, right? Whether they are in positive direction, negative direction, it doesn't matter, but they should act in a single line. In that case, how many equations we can make? We can make only one equation, that is sigma fx is equal to 0. What is sigma fx? Suppose toward right it is positive, then f1 minus f2 plus f3. Okay, summation of f1, f2 and f3, vector summation of f1, f2 and f3 should be equal to 0 if this body is in equilibrium. So that type of force system is called collinear force system, right? And it is a part of collinear equilibrium. The second point is concurrent at a point. So in this case, what should happen? All the forces, all the line of the action of the forces should pass through a single point. As you can see here, F1, F2, F3 and F4, four forces are acting over a body, and their line of action is passing through the point O. Right. In that case, you need to have two independent equations. As you can see here, sigma fx is equal to 0 and sigma fy is equal to 0. What is the meaning of sigma fx is equal to 0? So what you are going to do, you are going to assume this is positive x direction and this is positive y direction. Okay. So what happens? You have to take component of all the forces. F2, component of F2 in positive x direction. What will be that? F2 cos alpha. Suppose this angle is alpha, so F2 cos alpha will be the component in positive x direction. In the same way, F1, suppose this angle is beta, right? So F1 cos beta with negative sign because it is a vector summation. So F2 cos alpha minus F1 cos beta and minus F4 cos gamma plus F3 cos theta, right? In that case, we can make an equation of sigma fx is equal to 0. In the same way, we are going to take component in y direction. Okay, that will be F2 sin alpha, F1 sin beta. Okay, in that way we can do vector sum of all the forces in y direction. Finally, third point will be parallel force. Suppose all the forces are parallel, but no line of action is crossing each other. As you can see here, F1 is having toward right direction and its line of action is infinitely in x direction. But force F2 is again acting in x direction, but they are little distance apart. Okay, so their line of action is not crossing each other. In previous two cases, line of action of all the forces are crossing each other, crossing or same. Right, in concurrent they are crossing at a single point, but in parallel case, line of action won't cross any of the force, any of the line of the action of the force. Right, so in that case, we have to have two equations for equilibrium. First one is sigma fx is equal to 0 because they all are acting in same direction, x direction, but parallel. So what will happen? We will simply do vector sum of all the things. Okay. So what will be the vector sum? F1 it will be positive, F2 will be negative, F3 will be negative, and F4 will be positive. Directly we are going to take it out and we'll just sum them up, right? But because they are some distance apart, now in our case now we have to do moment equilibrium also. We need to find out a equation for moment also. So what is the moment? Moment is about the third axis, z axis. Right, that's why they have written here mz. So what is the formula for movement? You have to take any point anywhere. Suppose one point I am taking here, and assume this point as reference point, right? Now you should have the difference between all these parallel forces. Okay, suppose from F1 it is L1, from F2 it is L2, from F3 it is L3, and from F4 it is obviously 0, right? So we should have distance, perpendicular distance from this point. Okay, and then you have to multiply those distance with respective forces, right? And then you have to sum all of them up and should be equal to 0. So I will make it for you, I will write it for you. Suppose one force is F1 multiplied by, suppose the perpendicular distance of F1 from the O is L1. Okay, and what is the direction? Clockwise. Suppose for instance we will consider that clockwise direction as negative, suppose, because this force F1 about O is creating a clockwise motion, right? We have to just consider that clockwise is negative. Then for the case of force F2, you can see it will be positive because it is creating anti-clockwise motion, right? So F2 into L2, right? Same way, plus F3, because F3 is also creating anti-clockwise movement, right? So sum of all these things should be equal to 0. You may be wondering why I have not taken F4, because F4 is having no distance from the reference point O, right? So F4 into 0 will be 0 only. So this is sigma m z is equal to 0, right? Sigma fx is pretty easy, sigma mz is somewhat tougher, but anyway it is also easy. And finally is the general case. In general case, what happens, we don't have any common concurrent point, okay, through which this force are passing through. We don't have any movement like, in positive or negative direction. There are many, they can be in any direction. Forces can be in any direction, movement can be in any direction, positive or negative. Positive means anti-clockwise and negative means clockwise. So in this case we have to have three equations. It is very general case, right? Previous three cases were not general, they were specific, and this is very general case. So what are the two obvious equations? Sigma fx is equal to 0, component of all the forces in x direction, and vector sum of all of those should be equal to 0, and vector sum of all the forces in y direction should be equal to 0. Same way, sigma mz should be equal to 0, vector sum of moment should be equal to 0. Let us solve some gate problems, last year gate problems. So this is a gate problem from 2006. So it is pretty easy again, because in this problem, just after seeing, I know that what I am going to find out, and I don't even have to make free body diagram in this problem, right? So just to read it out, if point A is in equilibrium, okay, so this point A is in equilibrium under the action of applied forces, the value of tension TAB. Tension TAB means this force TAB and TAC means this force are respectively what? Okay, so how we are going to solve it? As you can see here, we are going to apply this second thing, because all the forces TAB, TAC and 600 Newton are passing through a single point here. Okay, so all of these forces are concurrent, right? So how we are going to solve it? Like this. So this method is called resolution of forces. Name doesn't matter. The basics are same. Sigma fx is equal to 0 and sigma fy is equal to 0. So what you are going to do? You are going to find out component of all the forces in x direction first. TAC cos 30. That is there. TAC cos 30. Then minus, because TAB in negative direction, minus TAB. The component of TAB toward x direction will be cos 60. Okay, so this should be equal to 0, because that is only our sigma fx is equal to 0. Okay, right. So TAC cos 30 minus TAB cos 60 is equal to 0. So we got two equations and we got two unknowns, right? So what we are going to do, we will take this TAB 460 in LHS in that way, and what will become equal. Okay, what is now we have to find out component of forces in y direction, right? So in that case, what we are going to do, vector sum of all the forces acting in y direction should be equal to 0. Sigma Fy should be equal to 0. Okay, so component of this TAB force in y direction will be TAB sine 60, right? Because this angle is 60, right? And component of this TAC toward y direction will be TAC sine 30. Both are in positive y direction, so positive. Minus, because 600 is negative direction, 600 minus 600, then it should be equal to 0, right? So obviously 600 you can take to the left, okay, LHS, and it will become 600 you can take to the right to the RHS, and it will become equal sign, right? So we will get these two equations and two unknowns, TAB TAC and TAB TAC. We have only two unknowns and two equations. We can solve them and we can easily find out the answer. And answer will be A 520 Newton and 300 Newton, right? Now let us see second problem. Second problem is little tougher, that is from date 2012. So let us read it out first. So in this problem, from just after seeing the problem, you may not know the answer. You may not find that what you have to find out. You need to read the question. In previous question, what happened? It was pretty easy. Just I saw it and I found it. Okay, how do I solve it? Okay, I got it directly from the diagram itself that I have to find out TAB and TAC only, nothing more. Okay, but in this problem it is somewhat difficult. I don't know what I have to find out, right? So I have to read the question properly. So two steel truss members AC and BC, AC and BC, right? They are nothing but a binary joint, right? That binary joint they are calling truss members, right? AC and BC each having cross-sectional area of 100 millimeter square are subjected to a horizontal force F. Okay, here it is horizontal force at the point C, as shown in figure. All the joints are hinged. Okay, all the joints are hinged. What is the meaning of hinge? Pin joint, right? So it is pin joint. If F is equal to 1 kilonewton, the magnitude of the vertical reaction force developed at the point B in kilonewton. So what we are going to find out? We have to find out vertical reaction here. As I told you in free body diagram, on each foundation, if it is pin joint, you will have two forces. Okay, two reaction forces, one in horizontal, one in vertical. So they are asking this vertical force, VB. Okay, at point B. So after reading the question, I got to know what I have to find out. The vertical force B. So how we are going to solve it? So this time, because this question is very big, we are not going to use resolution of forces. Okay, we are going to use Lami's theorem. That is very basic theorem that we study in mathematics also. So what we do in Lami's theorem? Definitely first we are going to make free body diagram of point C. Okay, so when we are going to make free body diagram of point C, in that force F is acting in horizontal direction, then force T2 is acting. What is T2? Tension in the AC. What is T1? Tension in BC, bar BC, right? So always we will assume that tension is acting away from the concurrent point. Always we will assume that these two forces are acting away from this concurrent point, right? So now we are going to apply Lami's theorem here. And how do we apply Lami's theorem here? Force F divided by the angle in front of it. So 45 per 60 is equal to 105. So force F divided by sine 105 is equal to T2 divided by sine 120 is equal to T1 divided by the angle in front of it, 135, right? So from this we are going to get two equations and two unknowns, T2 and T1, and both T2 and T1 we can find out easily. Okay, or F, yeah, F already we have, right? So because in our case we have to find out reaction at point B, we care about the force only here, this T1. Okay, so we need to find out only T1. So we'll pick up this expression and this expression. We'll make them equal and we'll directly find out T1. Okay, in that way, in the same way they have done it. Okay, T1 is equal to 0.7320 kilonewton. Right. So once you got the T1 at this, right, so now you have to make free body diagram of point B. So I will make free body diagram of point B for you. So first thing is this T1. So why I have taken direction in reverse. Here I have taken direction toward downward. Here I am taking direction toward upward. Why? Because from Newton's third law, action and reaction. So what happens at point C? This bar is attracting C. Okay, this bar is applying force over C in downward direction, right? But at point B, at the same time, this bar will apply the force in reverse direction, because we know that BC is a length that is in equilibrium. Everything here is equilibrium, right? So suppose one force is T1 here, then definitely there should be another force T2, T1 dash. Okay, so this T1 is nothing but action force, this T1 dash is nothing but reaction force, and it will, we have to apply in this direction only, right? Then only this BC will remain in equilibrium, right? So what is happening in at this point? I will make a pin joint for you. In this pin joint, because of this BC is trying to pull this point B. So BC is trying to pull this point B, right? Same way, this BC itself is trying to pull this point C also. I will make it here. Suppose this point is C and the force will be in this direction, T1, right? So if this BC need to be in equilibrium, this T1 and T1 dash should be equal, right? So that's why I have taken tension same in this bar BC, right? So T1 and T1 dash should, they are equal and in opposite direction, then only they can make this BC in equilibrium, right? Okay, so that's why I have taken this tension in positive upward direction, T1, right? This point is B. So on point B, let us make, you will just assume the direction of vertical reaction. Okay, and suppose this is vertical reaction. There must be acting horizontal reaction also, but that we don't care. Okay. We will just care about this vertical reaction. Now what is the next plan? Next plan is that we need to take component of T1 in y direction. Y direction is vertical upward. So we will take component of T1 in this direction, and what it will be? This angle is 60 here. So this angle is 60. Okay. So this angle will be 30. So T1 cos 30. So, and that will be acting in this direction. T1 cos 30. T1 cos 30. Right. Okay. So we found that the vertical, the force that is acting because of the bar BC in upward direction is T1 cos 30 in y direction. Now we have to apply, obviously sigma Fy is equal to 0. Sigma Fy. Is equal to 0, where at point B, right? At this point, at point B, we have to apply sigma Fy is equal to 0, right? So what is sigma Fy? First one is obviously vertical force V. V, that is in upward direction, okay, plus, because we assume that that is in upward direction. Then second one is T1 dash or T1 cos 30, that is here. T1 and sum of all these two should be equal to 0. Sum of these two forces should be equal to 0, because sigma Fy If everything should be in equilibrium, then sigma fi should be equal to 0. So you just pay concentration that this time we have taken only point B, right? We have just made free body diagram of point B, right? So we have just isolated point B out and then have made all the free body diagram, all the forces that are acting over point B, right? And then we apply sigma fi is equal to 0. Okay, from here we can find out V, that will be equal to minus T1 cos 30. Okay, if you solve this equation, you will find out V is equal to minus T1 cos 30. Okay, because you are getting minus, then the vertical force direction will be in downward direction. So the reaction will be in downward direction, right? Means this foundation is trying to pull back the bar, right? So as you can see here, R and T1 is equal to T1 cos 30, that we already found T1 cos 30. V is nothing but reaction at the point B, and then we just simply solved it. In the question they have not asked the direction, but we should know the direction. Direction is downward direction. Nowadays they are asking everything in GATE question papers because it is getting very tougher day by day. So in the GATE 2012 they didn't ask the direction. They should have asked, because it is 2-mark question, right? So anyway, the answer will be 0.634 kilonewton in downward direction, right? Now let us see final problem, and that is the problem from IAS 1996, and that is very interesting problem and very easy. So I will just read it out. The road roller shown in the given figure is being moved over an obstacle by a pull P. So this is the pull P. The value of P required will be minimum when it is, so what they want, this roller should be moved over this obstacle. So what will happen when this roller starts to move over this obstacle at that point of time? Here there will not be any force. There will not be any contact between the roller and the surface, because it is just starting to roll over. Okay, it will just starting to move over the obstacle. So that case there won't be any contact here. So now we have to make free body diagram of this roller, right? Suppose this is a roller, and because we have no contact here, so no force, and suppose this is your center, and here we have one force, normal force, right? Because that roller is touching the obstacle at this point and it is simply supported, and in simply supported what happens, you will have a normal force here at this point, right? Normal to the curve. What is the normal to the curve? That is, curve is circle, so normal to the circle will be the tangent, not tangent, the radius, right? So it will act toward the point O. Another force that is causing it to move over is this one, P. So let me again just take any arbitrary. So what I will assume, this force is acting in this direction, and this is the perpendicular here, y direction and x direction, and here we have this alpha. This is P, right? So as we know already, what is moment, because in here we are rolling this roller about point C, so we have to find out what we have to find out. We have to find out movement about point C only. We need to find out movement about point C, m. So what will be the value of m? M is equal to, obviously it is a vector, and the formula of m will be r cross p. So everything we are taking here is vector. So r is nothing but OC, because this p is acting here O. OC cross p. Okay, when we remove this cross sign, here, we will get sine angle between R and P. So what is the angle between R and P? So the angle is alpha, right? So here the angle I have already drawn. This is alpha. This is alpha. Okay. So that is the cross product between R and P. That is the basic definition of moment that we know from very lower class, right? So now they are asking this moment should be constant. We have to assume that the moment is constant, and here OC is always constant because OC is radius. We cannot change it. Here what we can change P and alpha. Okay. So suppose, and we don't care about alpha, we will just care about the sin alpha. What is the maximum value of sin alpha is 1. Okay. And when we are having one value, when alpha is equal to 90 degree. Right. So what happens? P into sin alpha should be constant. So if P increases, sin alpha should decrease. Right. But they are asking minimum value of P. Okay, so we have to decrease the P, right? So P into OC sin alpha is equal to constant. Okay, so if we reduce the P, sin alpha, OC is already constant, sin alpha should increase. But the maximum value of sin alpha is only 1. Okay, so if the maximum value of sin alpha at alpha is equal to 90 is only 1, in that case only you are going to find out the minimum value of P, right? Because more than that, more than 1 you cannot increase sin alpha, right? So we got the answer 90. So what is the alpha? Alpha is angle between this, right? And it should be 9. Means value of P required will be the minimum when it is perpendicular to the line CO. So this is line CO and this is P. Okay, and they should be perpendicular to each other. So thank you all. That's how we complete the first chapter of engineering mathematics. Thank you.